in the first few seconds of the live, like right now. Hello, everyone. We're live again with the Kickstarter Book Sales podcast. So as people are joining us, I just want to give you an update. So Russell is at SDCC this week, San Diego Comic-Con, for those of you who didn't know, which I am one of those people who did not know what that stood for a long time. So happy to share that with you. And we're here in lieu of Russell, we're here with Daniel Potter. So Daniel Potter, he did a Kickstarter recently called the Freelance Familiars box set. It did very, very well on Kickstarter. It closed at, let me check, $14,665 from 190 backers, which is incredibly impressive. And he's also in the Kickstarter Accelerator, so that's how we knew about his campaign and kind of got a bit of the behind the scenes from him. So we get to ask him all of our questions. So if you are watching this from Facebook, make sure that you connect your Facebook account to StreamYard, and that way we can see who we're talking to in the comments. Otherwise, you can just comment on the video and ask your questions. Daniel is happy to answer them, and so we would love to answer some questions from people about how he did this campaign. So, Daniel, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a full-time author. I've been full-time since 2020, when I quit my job in molecular biology research. And my spouse bought a house in a cheaper house in Oregon, and I've been trying to make it work since. And while I am full-time, and I do make income, I couldn't do it without my spouse. So I want to be just honest about that. I've been writing, my first book was a published book, was Off Leash, and that was published in 2015. And while I was working the day job, I published about one book a year. And they're strange books. I don't write to market, so I feel I'm a very good fit in terms of like publishing weird books. You should go to Kickstarter for that. And I had been thinking about doing Kickstarter for a long time, but I've always also been chasing, Amazon money. I'm mostly I've done wide. I'm right now pretty much entirely in KU until recently, where I pulled out all my Freelance Familiar books from KU. I have 3 series. Freelance Familiars was the first, and it's about a guy who gets turned into a mountain lion, and it's an urban fantasy. So it's a perspective of all those, standard hidden magical worlds, but from the perspective of a 200-pound cat. And all his friends are the other familiars, and trying to crusade against a rather unfair system for talking animals. So
that sounds really cool. That's awesome.
So it's fun. We have everyone loves Rudy, who is a squirrel who likes to blow things up. And
this is like Saturday morning cartoons. I'm just thinking of like Wile E. Coyote.
Saturday morning cartoons, but with kind of like this grim edge to it, because I always like exploring consequences. I'm really not good at like episodic things where, okay, let's go back to the status quo. I am super terrible at that. And so things always just keep on stacking on and on with each other.
So this is like
how they wound up in a casino in Vegas in the later books, and
nice.
Blowing up landmarks and all that sort of stuff.
Well, that sounds super fun. So the campaign was on Kickstarter. We'll bring it up.
I'm just trying to unblur my camera.
Oh yeah. No, I've had a couple of things you said. I've had trouble with blurred cameras before as well. It's just I feel like it's just a thing with
StreamYard.
yeah.
Camera does it
Yeah, I
all
don't
the
know.
time, and sometimes I can turn it off and turn it back on and it fixes it, but it's not this time. So okay. Anyway, so that's my first series. My second series was my first attempt to follow the algorithms where like put a dragon on it and it will sell. And so I did the Rise of the Horned Serpent, and that was tried to rapid release and do all the things, and they were supposed to be way shorter than they were. I took 2 years and rapid release kind of, and it bombed so hard.
Oh, such a bummer.
And then my third series, Full Moon Medic, I wanted to do kind of werewolfy stuff, but without like kind of following some urban fantasy tropes, but not a lot of shifter tropes and that sort of thing. And that is my most successful series. And that sold over 10,000 copies in 2 months.
Wow, congratulations. That's huge.
With that success, I'm like, okay, I should definitely be doing that, but I also want to finish Freelance Familiars. Because it takes me 6 months to write a book. So I'm hoping I can get Full Moon Medic, pivot back to that and with the third book and revamp some of that success too.
Nice.
But, so I needed to write Apex Familiar and give my fans who have been with me till the beginning a very satisfying conclusion to this series.
Awesome.
And I'm happy to say I think I pulled it off. It's a really nice book.
Yeah. Very cool. So it is so good to get that background, because I think sometimes people see like, oh, this person raised $14,665 on Kickstarter, they must have a huge audience, or they and it sounds like you have built it sounds like a very successful series. This is probably your second most successful series. This is the Freelance Familiar series. So you were probably able to convert some of those people from your most successful series to this one, plus like fans of this series. And obviously you have incredible artwork, which we're going to see. If you want to see, it's on YouTube. You can't see it on the podcast, but you can go look it up. So it just, it sounds like every author, like every successful author I talk to, it's like there are so many ups and downs in this business. So if you're out there and you're experiencing a down, it's okay. It's actually pretty normal, I think. And, a lot of us have these, kind of challenging, difficult paths where we kind of just had to keep believing in ourselves. Like, imagine if you had given up on authorship after series 2. Which sounds like it was a big investment of time and didn't quite pan out the way you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pie in the sky sort of guy. So I released a series and the only one that actually lived up to expectations was Full Moon Medic. That was like, oh my God. And but I always want, this is it. This is going to rocket ship.
Yeah. We all want the rocket ship. How do we get a ticket on the rocket ship?
I know. I'm just like, every time I release, this is going to be the one. This. Because I am just hopeless in this thing. And I'm always like, oh, it didn't take over the world. Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Oh.
But, you have to get good at like, okay, this is a success. We did the thing. We moved on.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, to me, what it sounds like is that you built on the success of a couple series, like doing pretty well. So the one doing really well, and then this one, which is pretty awesome as well. So do you want to talk about this particular campaign? Because this is the book 6, Apex Familiar, which has an incredible cover. It has everything you described. It has the lion, it has the chipmunk, the squirrel who's blowing things up. Like, I don't think you could get more clear on the cover as to what this is about. And then all the other covers are, of course, gorgeous. Let me see if I can, this fan artwork is just so like
well,
this
that's
is
not a
incredible.
fan artwork. So
Oh, it's not? Okay.
that's my box. That's the box that goes
Oh,
around it. Hold on.
gotcha. Okay, you talk about the campaign, not me. You
So
tell me about the
so
campaign.
so this is what started this whole project. Well, basically, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kickstart a box set. We're gonna have this really nice box that all the books go into. So this is the mock-up that my
That's so
spouse made.
cool.
So
That's so cool. Look at that. Oh my
so what
goodness.
I did is I'm like, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna make this happen. And I'm like, okay, let's go commission the art. So I went to my artist who did the rolling print, which I think that might not be. Oh, is that not on there? Oh, I must have took it off because I was going. Anyway, it's this great print of Thomas and Rudy rolling down the strip. Thomas is poking at his head out of the top of a limo, and Rudy's just like, "I'm your man, maybe." And so that's Joyce, and unfortunately, she was booked. So I had to go to one of her friends, which is Dave Vera, and I'm like, I want to do this, and she's like, okay, I can do that for three grand plus commercial fee should the Kickstarter fund. And I'm like, sure, we could do that. No problem. I want this on my wall anyway.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether the thing. So I said yes. And then I did the math, and I'm like, oh, craps.
Yes, I remember that moment. So you were in our thing because you joined our course, and we were like, like, what do we do with this math? Because like you'd already kind of commissioned it, and we were like, well, we tell people to do $500 as their reward. And when we had talked to you, you were like, yeah, I'm like, I've already got the art coming, and we were like, okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I went and talked to my friend who has done a box set, Dirk Ashton, who does Paternus. I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's a really cool, epic box thing, epic urban fantasy series that does very well. But basically, he showed me his quote, and it's All Book Covers, I think is the company. And I'm like, ooh, those boxes are like $30 to ship and produce. And I'm just like, and I need 100 of them.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Right. Yeah.
How does this go to work? So, after I did the math, I'm like, okay, well, I can't take a wash on the boxes production wise. I could maybe take a wash on the art if I need to. And so that's how the 6,000 ask came about. I needed according to my estimates, I needed 12 to break even. And I'm like, well, if it happens, it happens. And I'm just going to do everything I can to make it happen.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I wanted to we had a lot of people come to us with an idea to do a box set, like the exact project that you did and that you ended up doing. And we did the math on it, same as you. Like, we did the math, like, with multiple people multiple times, and every single time the lowest that people could go was $5,000. And so it sounds, yours was you had commissioned the art and like everything, but we were like, if you have the art already, like if you designed this box set yourself, like whatever it is, and you already had all that, the lowest you can go is $5,000. So something for people to know out there, because we saw so many people who wanted to do like this box set idea, and it seems like a good idea, but just having to produce the box sets, the minimums, all of it, it is $5,000 minimum type of campaign. And so for you did the math, and it was $6,000 for you for the goal. So I just wanted to share that, because
that's what I would have taken a pretty significant loss at the end of the day.
It would have been if you had only hit 6K. Yeah.
Because, a lot of boxes, they're sparse. They have like, the title and like an emblem or something. They don't have a wraparound mural.
Right. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up, because there's this image. I mean, this is so cool. You can barely see it on here, but I mean, this is pretty awesome. So just, it wraps all the way around, and then like each of the panels is a special, like its own basically piece of art. So it's like you actually got like
it's basically
4 pieces of art.
Well, it's basically 3 paperback covers, and then like some
and
pretty
then the top. The fireworks on the top. Like, it's very, very cool. And you held it up, and it was awesome. So
I just got the digital prints in just like an hour ago. And so
exciting.
Yeah, so I had to print the books real quick and like ship them out to them, and I should be getting so I've approved those, and I should get like an actual prototype in the mail next.
Very cool. So can you talk a little bit about, well, first of all, so one of the questions somebody had is the box set new, or is the collection put together? So do you want to?
So, I mean, the box set, so previously 1 through 5 have been released on Amazon. And so the 6th book and the box itself is exclusive to Amazon.
To Kickstarter.
I'm going to have 100 of them. I've sold like 50, 60. So I'm going to have a few hanging around to sell at cons and through my own website and that sort of thing for a while yet. Yeah, so that's what's new. I also did annotated editions, which of all 6 books, or I will. They take a lot longer than I had hoped. So I have the first one out, and I have to do 5 more somehow soon. And I also have a book release due on the 30th of September.
So here's the annotated. It does get busy. Yeah. So here's the annotated editions. But yeah, so right now the box set is exclusive to Kickstarter, obviously, and it's a limited print run, because you would have to sell, like, so you have whatever 40 left. But once those are gone, it's kind of gone, because you would have to.
I'll definitely be hand numbering those on the insides. So yeah, they're not going to happen again.
It's not going to happen again, because you'd have to get a whole other 100 and like another 12 grand in order to make it happen. And so I think, and I believe if people want this set, as we're talking about, if you're like, I want that, you can go to Daniel's Kickstarter campaign and
I have
probably order it. Yeah.
So I'm not quite, I haven't really been able to like have BackerKit replicate pledge levels so much. Like you can order like the individual pieces, like, but if you order the full box set for $200 on BackerKit, I will make sure you get all the digital stuff, and print rewards as well.
Cool. Well, there you have it. It's real now.
Yes. BackerKit has been amazing. I have actually raised $1,300 on backer kit.
Nice. Congratulations.
Some of that is
Extra.
I had a couple high tier pledges
Mm.
who fell through and they've repledged through.
Oh, gotcha.
But that's
Well,
good.
still recovered money is recovered
Yeah.
money. So,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about how you got, because you had 200 people or almost 200 people, 190 backers who ended up supporting this. So how did you get people, especially people, who may have picked up the original series in KU? How did you get those people to come on over and buy the book on Kickstarter? That's a really big ask. It was also a really, a pricier box set. You go from like a $3 or $4.99 KU book, which might be free to that, effectively free to that reader,
Right.
or like part of their subscription, to paying, $200 for the box set. So how did you do that? I know you had the exclusive book, but
I mean, I asked. I'm like, so I have a Discord server, and this year is really, I have decided that this was the year of the Discord, and I was going to do stuff on my Discord. And so sometimes I stream on my Discord. Sometimes I'll do readings on my Discord. And I focused a lot of energy into just building up my Discord. Every email, I'm like, join my Discord and that sort of stuff. And I'd have to say there's more Freelance Familiars fans on that Discord than there are generally Full Moon Medic fans. And that's just the kind of the way it wound up. And they got really excited about this. They really wanted this when I started talking about it. And so there's like 150 people on there. I'd say 30 who interact regularly, and I put this together. Of course I emailed everywhere, but I think it was mostly that hardcore people in my Discord who got me there so fast to that 6,000 goal. And I had some going, oh, that's a lot of money, and you're like, I know it's a lot of money. It's a big ask, and if I could make it work cheaper, I would. But a lot of them just go, okay, I'll do it. Whatever.
They like you.
Yeah.
They really like you.
Yeah. It was just so gratifying. And it has really, the Kickstarter has just energized that community and made it much more active. I've gotten new people there from the Kickstarter. I did, and of course, throughout the campaign, I posted on my Facebook. I've never been so active on Facebook. I posted on my Facebook every day, practically. There were a couple, my parents were visiting at some point. I missed a couple days. I emailed my list. I tweeted, and I talked about stuff on Discord every single day. And they came, and once we kind of like topped out around, once we hit eight grand, and then it was just this slow drip. Mostly people I didn't know personally from the Discord or anywhere else. I'm not sure where they come from. Some were personal friends who's like, oh, sure, I'll kick in, or but they just came 4 or 5 every day or so. I ran it for a little longer than totally recommended, because my parents were like visiting in the middle, and I did not want my last couple of days of my Kickstarter to be with my parents visiting. So I extended it out to that Friday.
Yeah. That's funny.
Um,
I run super like unnecessarily long Kickstarter campaigns, so it's okay.
yeah. I mean, I've it's just exhausting to do I'm glad it wasn't any longer because
Right.
I have to do some writing and trying to do writing while like my word counts. I was doing some writing, but my word counts were way down. Plus, like the
Mm-hmm.
week with my parents visiting is just like I'm a
Yeah.
slow writer. I do me if a 2K is a real good day for me. That's my goal. And I write weekdays. And yeah, I did not hit that pretty much throughout the entire campaign.
Oh man, yes, I feel ya. I've definitely been there. Yeah. So okay, so I'm just gonna like summarize a little bit of just to break out those points to listeners. So basically, the Discord server. So to me, Discord is a code word for super special place for fans. It's a place to like cultivate fans like rather than readers, really, or like on top of them being readers, to cultivate them into being fans of your actual of your work and of you and that sort of thing. That's kind of how I see authors using Discord anyway. Would
Yeah,
you?
Discord is like I really prefer Discord because like I can't make myself to make a listicle for any amount of money in the world. Like I just don't like making blog posts or that sort of stuff. If I can have a conversation with you or just like ping up a link to something that's cool every once in a while, or just you can ask me something and I will respond, I am much more comfortable doing that. I am much better at that. Like I love going on podcasts and talking to people. That's really what I would prefer to do. I tried to get on some podcasts and it didn't really work out.
For the campaign,
Like,
you
who
mean?
are you? Why should we care?
Oh.
Or just, more ether. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes we talk about books. Join our Telegram chat.
Oh man, Telegram.
You are asking me to do way too much work to get on your podcast. I mean, yes, I understand why, and I respect that, but
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so doing Discord, I think you said something like really basic that I think is like so worth highlighting, which is um, people wanted the thing you were doing. I mean, I think that's like one of the most important things of marketing that sometimes people skip. Like they think there's like a secret to this, and it's like, no, like they wanted the sixth book of the series. Like it's very simple.
oh
They
yes,
wanted the
they
like,
definitely wanted that. They
yeah.
very definitely wanted the sixth book. They
And
are
that
all
was,
super sad that I have ended the series. They're like,
yeah,
no more.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man, I had just like he started way down here and he's way up here now because consequences. He hasn't gotten himself killed. So of course, he's gathered the amount of power. So it's like we are no longer the scrappy little
Right.
individual. We're graduating Thomas to institution level where he can mentor the next fuzzy
Mm.
who comes along.
All right. That's your next series, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you
This
doing the next generation?
maybe.
Maybe. Oh, we're
I
getting an exclusive right here.
I mean, the world is plenty big enough for another story. Thomas would not be the center of it. Rudy would
Sure.
certainly be kicking around. Um, and but I want to focus and finish Full Moon Medic
Sure.
first and see where that
Yeah. No,
goes. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, they wanted the sixth book. They obviously this box set is wildly cool. I mean, hugely cool. So they wanted that, and
I would have
you
done it
know,
all hardcovers if I could, but
yeah,
that's
got pricey. Oh, totally.
that would have
Yeah,
like tripled the cost of the box
right.
set. I'm like,
Totally.
yeah. What some friends have done, what Dirk did is he kickstarted the hardcover of each book, and then on the third book, it's a trilogy. He did that in the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of thinking I might do the same with Full Moon Medic down the line.
Nice. That'll be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's, that's one of the things that we say about Kickstarter is really that if you are, you know, um, like not a super fast writer, but if you can, do a campaign for each book because you will just get more money per book. And then for the whole series, it really adds up to quite a bit. So, I think that's a really good strategy for people, especially if you have a series that is, tested. So I think that was another thing about this series is that it already had readers. You were cultivating that fandom, which to me, like readership and fandom are two very different things we're learning, especially well, for me, through teaching this Kickstarter stuff and through watching so many campaigns, it's like we see lots of authors who have a huge readership, but they don't have a strong fandom. Versus, authors like yourself who have a huge readership as well, but they've cultivated a small fandom,
I
and
wouldn't
then
say
they're
my
able.
readership is huge. Not
Well,
for this.
not. I mean, we're talking,
Right. It's
relative
all very
numbers, but
relative.
yeah, relative numbers, but
Yeah.
just that you have a good readership clearly
Yeah.
from your several series, and you've taken a small portion of those and cultivated that true fandom as well, and now you can kind of work with both, and it's really, I'm sure, kind of stabilizing in your career, because you can.
I wish I had started Discord when I first put out Off Leash. I think I would be in a very different place right now.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
I started it maybe. I think I either just started it or started it after I moved.
Wow. Yeah. So that was a couple years ago then, or?
Yeah, so that was 2020. We moved and bought a house right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I was just thinking like 2020 is like, ugh, that year was bad.
we moved. We closed on the house in December and we moved in January, and then we're in an entirely new place and don't know anybody and and totally stuck in your house, which is a lot better than being stuck in a 2-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's quite a move. I actually want to move to Oregon, the coast of Oregon, but I'm
my
also
brother-in-law is there.
Oh,
I'm in Salem, which is an hour away from the coast.
Yeah, I know where that
We're
is.
the capital, and we're an hour away from anything interesting. Portland's an hour north. We're an hour away from the coast, hour and a half, depending where you're going, and an hour and a half from mountains and hiking on Mount Hood and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of, I had like a couple more questions. And if anybody has questions from the audience, feel free to ask. But I think we've kind of covered a lot of, why this campaign has been so successful. It was a box set. It was really ambitious. Like I remember we had chatted quite a bit in the group, and we were like, like go for it. But we want to let you know this is a pretty ambitious goal. Like 6K is not a joke to try to raise on Kickstarter. And we have seen campaigns that, are only hitting like 1,000, of course, or sometimes even less. So we're like, okay, it's 6K. Like we were a little nervous for you, but then of course you funded second day, if I recall correctly, and you were very close on the first
50
day.
hours. We missed like the second.
Yeah.
Day. I'm a little like, I'm a little sore that we never got a project you loved, but
what? You didn't?
We never got that.
I think they're just so busy.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like, you know,
No, I'd be salty.
yeah, I'm definitely a little salty about that. I didn't really like email them for it, you know, or
Yeah.
anything, but I'm like,
Oh,
no,
you
I'm the highest funded
highest.
publishing thing in your thing right now,
Hmm.
at least for
You,
a couple days in there.
yeah. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I just always email them now,
yeah.
and they're always like, "Yes, Monica, Russell already emailed." Like they're always like, "Russell already emailed," because Russell's actually friends with well,
Somebody there.
some several, yeah, a couple
Yeah.
people there. So and I don't know them, but like
Right.
obviously chat with them and have their email address and everything. But I
Right.
still just go through the form and they're like, "Yes, Monica, Russell already let us know." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I mean,
So
but like
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
they're busy. They're
yeah,
busy. So I don't think they're. This is a good lesson for people. I don't think they're looking at all the stuff all the time, and
right.
I do think if you want it, like definitely email them because they will give it to you, especially if you know are in our thing. So yeah,
But
but
you know,
you wanted to earn it, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did well, you know, I think, you know, when you have a $200 level and that's the premier level that everyone wants, you have a much higher average uh pledge. My average pledge was 80. So
Nice. Very
you know,
cool.
so you know, that's how I got to like Russell's pledge levels with half as many backers.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Russell, this probably would be the most successful fiction campaign. So it is the most successful fiction campaign that we've had in our group, aside from Russell's. So Russell just did one that was like slightly above this, but
Mhm.
um, I mean, we're pretty impressed. This is this is pretty impressive. Just especially to your first campaign, you know, that was like his 23rd or 24th campaign or
Right,
whatever it
right.
was. Like you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think, so obviously like charging more is going to get you a higher revenue,
right.
but being able to charge more is the
Right.
the, the thing
Well,
that's hard.
without you and Russell's advice, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have asked $25 per paperback. I just wouldn't have
Mm,
done that.
yes,
Um,
that's
and
true.
so the margin would have been much lower, and I probably wouldn't have. I would have eaten some. Because I based my estimates off Russell's Dragon Strife campaign, and he actually had a higher number or ratio of he had more physical backers compared to uh my amount.
Mm-hmm.
So it worked out. I've got about 31% were physical and his were like 40 something, I think. And because I had a little more than I estimated digital backers, and I actually made more of a profit at this level than I estimated. So
Nice.
not a lot, but I think a nice amount to bank and put in
Mm-hmm.
fun to future projects, and I'm going to buy a very nice board game for myself.
Yay! You have to celebrate.
Oh, I
You have to
also bought a metal
celebrate.
print of this.
Oh, that's really cool.
I'm just
Oh
trying to figure out
wow.
where I put it. I haven't hung it up yet because I want to revamp the entire office and like
Mhm.
put it behind me. I you
Wow.
know, ev- I'm always jelly of all of many authors who stream in front of
You're
this
right.
temple of books, and I've just got this very
Like a bookshelf
uh,
behind.
very disorganized shelf, but I'm a very disorganized guy. So it is very me, but perhaps I want something a little better. So I'm going to move this whole thing around and use this other wall and move
Nice.
some books and put some prints and that sort of stuff eventually, someday.
That's very cool. I think that's very cool. So yeah, I mean, I think it's so great, like, because this was a huge milestone too. So it's like your audience was really celebrating not only finishing the series, it sounds like your first series that you finished,
Right.
the first series that you started with to begin with, and then the first like major box set that you've done
Oh,
that
yeah.
is limited edition. Like, that's huge. I think it's so great that you have found ways to like celebrate with it. And I mean, to your point, if each book was 25, there were 6 books. So that means people were willing to pay another $50 for the box set just for the case.
Yeah.
I think they're called slip cases.
Yeah.
And like, that's pretty incredible that you had 60
And I didn't
people who
even do
were up
like
for that.
an early bird discount or anything. I
Right.
just said, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my first campaign. I feel like, oh, I probably should have done that video thing or that sort of stuff. It was just so much to try and put together and that's sort of stuff. I just couldn't quite get the energy to do that. And maybe I would have gotten a few more backers that way or not. I feel like my mailing list, I have a hardcore audience on my mailing list, which was built on Freelance Familiars.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of that was brought in by Full Moon Medic. And so I didn't really get a lot of traction through my mailing list. I felt I was just kind of shouting to the void a bit. And we'll see if it will be interesting to see when we do a Full Moon Medic book, if I get like just a lot more sort of interaction. But I got a fair amount of interaction through Twitter. I got it through some through Facebook, and definitely, of course, and the Discord. I mean, they were like, it's almost to this stretch goal. It's almost there. They really
So
wanted
sweet.
which was my $15,000 stretch goal. We didn't quite get there, but I've commissioned 2 stickers, and so that's a little $5 add-on for physical backers. So
cool.
I don't know what those are going to look like. I've commissioned them, but I don't have it. So
You don't have the artwork yet. Well,
so,
that's cool. And it sounds like you kind of have a framework for doing this again, and you have, it sounds like, possibly a bigger list for the Full Moon Medic stuff.
right.
So it's like you kind of have a playbook for doing this. Like, get them to the
Yes.
Discord, get them to the
Yeah.
campaign. Like you said, maybe do a video. I haven't done a video for our current campaign that's running, and it's at like 27K. So it's like we've just seen kind of, and yours hit almost 15K. It's like there was another woman in our accelerator. Hers hit almost, I think it hit 6K, and she had not done her video. And so we are seeing people who, like, they didn't do their video,
Right.
and it's still doing okay. So I think, if you're really not afraid of Kickstarter because of the video, like, it's okay. Like, there's definitely some success stories of people who are doing it without that. But yeah, I do think video can help convert. I know it did for my last 2 campaigns. So I don't know why I haven't done it for this one, but should probably do that. But yeah, like you said, energy is tiring.
It's just, it's, especially if it's, it's something you're not familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
I did TikTok for about 3 months, and it's a real drain just trying to like think up, very short stuff. And
Oh yeah.
In a video, you're always like, well, I've seen it done so badly. I don't want people to look at me like I looked at them.
Yeah, I get that. So I think we should probably wrap this up because we're a little bit we're running over. But I did want to ask you, as kind of a closing question, what are what's a piece of advice, or maybe a couple quick pieces of advice, that you would give to somebody who wanted to run not just a Kickstarter campaign, but wanted to run a campaign similar to the one you did, what would you tell them?
I would say, you've got to make sure you've got a direct line somehow to your audience. You have to have fans that you know by name, or you have to have a lot of them. Like, you have to have some sort of community that when you're going to put something out, they're going to jump on it. And the scary thing is you're not going to know until you try, right? Because I put this on and I didn't know. I knew I'd get at least, five people on board and that sort of stuff. But that's not going to get you there.
Right.
So you've got to try it. If you've been building a series and there's people who love it, then you just have to go for it. You don't have to commission the art before you run it. You don't have to be as deep as sunk into it as I was. But yeah, so it's a long way. You need to have your core audience to support you.
Right. Yeah, no, I think to your point, like you stacked the deck in your favor to the best of your ability before the campaign went live, but then it goes live and like that's the real test. Like you said, like five like you need to sell like at least half of your 100 minimum 100 minimum.
30
Oh,
would have
30.
like sold them, but then you get the digital and
right. Yeah.
changes. But everyone you sell, that's $50 plus the profit, and so you get closer and closer to breaking even. Everyone you sell, that's a little less of that sunk cost into printing that's not just sitting there.
Right. Now that you've done one, I know you talked about doing another for your Full Moon Medic series. Are you thinking of doing any before that, or are you going to kind of go with the same model once again for your next one?
Well, I'm gonna do. I think what I will do your actual intro.
Our intro suggestion.
Where
Yeah.
I'm going to do a hardcover. I have a hardcover of the first Full Moon Medic book made up, but what I'm going to do, and I did have a few hardcore fans who bought that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get hardcover with an fully illustrated cover with that instead of the made for Amazon cover. I'm going to do something epic on that cover.
Very cool.
Do that as they'll probably do both the hardcover and the paperback version, and say, at the end, when we do all the 6 books, there will be a slipcase for the hardbacks. And
that's a great idea.
One of the comments when I was setting this up, I wish they were hardcover with the slip case I'm like, I'm not making 6 hardcover and paying for all those redoing of the covers with one campaign. That is just not possible. So, but if we do this step by step by step, I think it could work.
Well, that sounds like a really good plan, in my opinion, because you have basically like 6 campaigns, and then you have the slipcase. Right. It sounds like, and that's like so manageable for people. Like, okay, I'm going to pay, my 35, 40, whatever your hardcover is. Some are up to like 50, but I'm going to pay this much for that, and then I'm kind of slowly building. And that's like
each campaign you have more
get
people
another
jump
one
on.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's also like in your mind. So one of the things that we talk about with fandom is you got to take up their, or you've got to get investment of their time, their energy, their money, and their space, and that's how
Right.
you create a fan. And so it's like that is kind of like they're already budgeting space on their bookshelf in their house. Like they're literally like renting out their personal space for
Right.
you as an author. So they'll
Mhm.
be kind of like stacking up those 6 books, and then they get those slipcase, and it's really cool. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's a great plan. So smart, so brilliant. So thank you for sharing it. I'm glad I asked that question, even though we're like way over. But good insights there. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to share about the campaign, or any other wisdom
Um,
bombs you want to drop on us?
I don't think so. Really, it's just I'm still hyped about it. I'm still
Yeah.
so happy it's done so well, and I feel like this is really going to kind of energize my career a bit.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um, so
Very
yeah,
cool.
I see myself using Kickstarter as a continual tool going forward.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's kind of like what our goal is. So
Yeah,
we have one person converted. We
yeah,
have a couple others that we heard from, but awesome. So thank you so much, Daniel, for joining me here and talking about your campaign. And thanks for really doing the campaign. It's like such a cool case study, because we haven't had anybody who has really been able to pull off this box set idea so far, or has attempted it, because well, we don't really recommend it as the first campaign, so that's kind of why. But I'm so glad that you took the chance to do it, and
Oh,
I
thank
know
you.
we finagled it a bit to try to help get those numbers up, but yeah, you really brought your audience, is really why it was successful. So thank you so much. And do you want to tell people how to get the Freelance Familiars box set?
Sure. Just go to Kickstarter, of course. Look for probably have to type in freelance familiars into the search, and it will come up. And there's a pre-order thing, and you'll take you to my Backer Kit store, and you can get one of those 40 boxes that are left. I will be
Awesome.
printing. I am still waiting on receiving Kickstarter funds. They should be here tomorrow in the next couple days. And so I'm just about ready to pull the trigger on printing all the books and get
Mhm.
that moving. I'm
Cool.
hoping that this whole process and I can ship these out sometime in September. Um,
Awesome.
and of course, there's you can get the digital box set with everything I've done, including Freelance Familiars, Full Moon Medic, and the Horned Serpent, which I know is didn't do that well on Amazon, but I still think it's a good series.
Very cool. Cool. So if you want to get that, you come over to Kickstarter. I typed in Daniel Potter as well, and that worked. You can type in Freelance Familiars, and it's really this blue button. You click pre-order, and then it'll take you to the Backer Kit store, and that's where you can pre-order illustrations, books, cool pins,
Yeah.
obviously.
So I
That's just
have pins, but they're for
for
Full
the
Moon
other,
Medic.
yeah, for Full Moon Medic. Awesome. So there's lots of other stuff here. And it looks like this is the box set. This first one is the box
Yeah.
set. So very cool. Okay. So thank you so much, Daniel, for being here. Thank you to everybody who is listening. You have one more comment, which says nice hat. I have two that look just like that. So
It's
perfect
kangaroo
hat.
leather, very flexy.
Nice.
I
Very cool.
was inspired by Terry Pratchett. He always had the hat, so
Yeah, I was wondering who that was reminding me of, and I can picture it now. So cool. Okay, thank you so much for everybody watching, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.